I am 27 years old. I live in Miami. I was born in India and moved to the US when I turned 24. Now, I used to have a friend that lives in Texas, and I'd visit him if I ever got the chance. I'd go with my truck since I'd enjoy road trips. At least I used to. It began normal enough. I loaded my truck, prepared food and drinks, made sure to bring some gas in case I ran out far from a gas station. I set out early in the morning. The first few hours were normal, until I got to a road in the middle of the forest and saw a sign that said, Road 14. Do not stop under any circumstances. Strange. Probably some weird joke. I continued, ignoring the sign. I was pretty exhausted from the trip, so I decided to take a short break to eat some snacks I brought. I parked my truck on the side of the road and opened the glove compartment and pulled out a bag of potato chips I kept in it. I opened the bag and calmly stared into the forest. That's when I saw it. I saw a branch, but it looked too thick and too light to be one. I squinted and leaned closer to see. Then I realized what it truly was. A leg. A human leg lying there. Now my instincts kicked in and I started a car and floored it as fast as I could. I didn't even notice I dropped the bag of chips all over myself. That was the least of my worries. Was that really someone's leg? How did it get there? Should I call 911? Too many questions were in my head, but this was no time to ponder. I prayed for the road to end soon, to at least see another car, to know I wasn't alone in this place. I shouldn't have made such a wish. A few minutes of driving later, I see a red car behind me. I was relieved and immediately looked back. I decided to slow down and let the red car get closer to me so I could try talking to the driver. Oh, how I wish I kept going at full speed. The car eventually got close enough. I looked in the rearview mirror and caught a glimpse of the driver. I squinted, then I poked my head out of my window and looked behind me. The result was the same. There was no one driving the car, but there was someone in the rear seat. I couldn't make them out. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, that maybe I was going insane, and the car is actually a figment of my imagination. That thought was disapproved when it rammed the rear of my truck. Then I swear I saw whoever was in the rear seat grin wider than should be for a human. At this point, I only had a single goal: to get out of this hell. I went at full speed. I managed to lose sight of the car, and I immediately took out my phone to look at Google Maps at where I was. There was no network. Freaking out, I kept on driving, hoping the road would end. At this point, I swear I started seeing faces, hundreds of them, peeking at me from the woods, with wide grins. However, I didn't even have time to process that because of how fast I was going. That's when it stopped. I looked at the dash. Shit, the gas ran out. It could not have been a worse time. Things can't get any worse. They did when I looked in the rearview mirror. A horde of people, with grins wider than humanly possible, were sprinting at my car at full speed in the distance. Everything about them looked uncanny, as if their bodies were AI generated. Necks and hair too long, arms a milliliter too big. It's hard to describe, but I knew they weren't human. At this point, I had no options. It'd take too much time to get out and fill the gas tank myself. I couldn't try hiding since they'd definitely have seen me, and no way could they not break through my truck. I resorted to the last option I had. I'd never been particularly religious ever since I came to the United States, Though my parents had taught me a Hindu prayer known as the Hanuman Chalisa, apparently it could ward off evil spirits, even though I didn't think it would do anything. I gave it a shot. I closed my eyes and recited it. After a few minutes, which felt like an eternity, I opened them, half expecting the horde to have surrounded my car by now. That's when I realized they were gone. It's as if they vanished into thin air. Summoning the little courage I had, I walked out of my truck, went to the back, and filled up the gas tank. Part of me expected them to pop out of the forest any second, but they didn't. I filled up the gas tank, went back into my car, and floored it. After just a few minutes, I saw a small town come into sight. I only stopped at the gas station to fill up gas and then, not wanting to take any more chances, floored it and didn't stop until I was in a crowded area. The strangest part? I've spent hours looking, but I cannot find a trace of a road known as Road 14 in Texas. Part of me thinks I just hallucinated it all, but that doesn't explain how the back of my truck is destroyed.